of the agenda, the first thing is the approval of the minutes for April 11th.
Let's do a roll call.
Oh, sorry, it's the remote meeting. Sorry, roll call of participants. Could each member announce themselves? I'm Matt Johnson, serving as chair for my last meeting.
Arthur Foreman.
Harold Wilson.
All right, so we're all here.
Yep, Court, you're pre-announced. All right, so now the approval of the minutes.
I move to approve. I believe it was April 11.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, roll call vote. Let's see, Court.
Yes, aye.
Excuse me, one comment. I did have one discussion on the
Oh,
minutes.
forgive me. I withdraw my vote. Yeah, go ahead. Karen.
Okay,
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that we're clear about on page, I think it's page 4 down at the bottom, when we started to talk about fixed assets and implying that there's a recommendation by the committee to consider liquidating any town-owned properties at some point. So because I don't think that's exactly what we said. I think we need to be very careful if we ever have conversations about selling town assets, because certainly those aren't things that can be reclaimed. So I just want to make sure that the language is clear, that there was discussion, but it wasn't this committee's recommendation that we do that.
Where is that, Carol?
So I'm on the bottom of page 4, the second to last paragraph. Matt, you acknowledged that the audit was strong, but with increasing cost pressures, potentially leading to some consideration of strategy to declare surplus assets and selling them. And then
right, and then
Scott, you had an opinion on
committee
that.
more or less just concurred that was worth looking at, which is about as close as we got, right? We didn't get to any kind of specific recommendation.
Yeah, I was gonna say, his recommendation is for the town to move forward to scrutinize. Because personally, I disagree with that. I don't think the town should be looking to liquidate assets as a way to raise revenue. Those aren't things that we can ever get back. So I think before we would ever imply that, we would want to have a fairly robust conversation about it.
I'll make the changes to the minutes to remove the word recommendation.
Okay, I
and
think, yeah, that would be fine, Mary.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay, then, Court, would you like to amend your motion?
Yes, please. I move to approve
If I
the,
may, I know it's not my role, but I just noticed something myself. I was complimenting Mary on the person who took notes. But when I glanced at the paragraph that was just discussed between the committee members, it says, it talks about Mr. McIntyre agreed and stated it was with purpose that the firm looked at the reduction of unassigned fund balance of approximately 250 million. I think that's 250,000.
Oh, okay.
That's, I know it's not my, I know it's not my role,
Oh,
but
But yeah, that would be attention getting.
so somebody obviously might have to make that, other than Scott McIntyre, might have to make that suggestion change.
Well, Scott, that's why you get the big bucks here. Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay, so 250,000.
got it.
All right,
So
now,
we have two changes agreed upon
yes,
on the April 11 minutes. I move approval as amended.
And I second.
okay, roll call vote. Carol?
Approve.
Arthur,
Yes, approve.
Court,
Aye.
and Matt Johnson, aye. So that is unanimously approved. Okay, so now we're moved to the FY 2022 final town ACFR, and we'd like to hear about those changes from the draft to the final report.
Thank you. I'm going to share my screen in just a minute, but as when the people started getting on this call, there was some chatter about it being a quick meeting, and if we're going to highlight the changes between the draft ACFR and the final, which all the members have now, I think it can be a very quick meeting.
Okay,
I will share my screen. And if you could please let me know when you see the town of Concord's governmental funds balance sheet.
Yeah, see it.
yeah.
Okay,
I
wonderful.
do. And also my computer is now back up, so I'm going to switch devices.
Recording in progress.
All right, the first change I want to talk about is right here in leases at $642,000. In the draft, that number was about 401,000. So as things got finalized with the implementation of GASB statement number 87, there were some tweaks to this number to perfect the accounts receivable associated with the town's leases. Similarly, as I scroll down the page, you see here deferred inflows of resources related to leases. You see the $642,000. It is a direct offset to the accounts receivable. And I bet you the committee can guess what this number was in the drafts. It was that $401,000. So it went up about $240,000. And that's really the only change on the governmental funds balance sheet. As I go back to PDF page 35, print page 25. Similarly, on a classified balance sheet, you have lease receivable of $246,000 and a non-current lease receivable of $400,000. Those add up to the same $642,000 that we saw on the fund basis balance sheet on the first page we looked at when I started to share my screen. And so those changed from the 401,000. It was broken down between current and non-current. And then also on the long-term perspective balance sheet, you have the same deferred inflow of resources for that $642,000. Again, that number is a direct offset to the accounts receivable related to leases. And that number was $401,000. And it's obviously now is $642,000. Also, footnote number 10 deals with lease receivable has been, I'll use the word perfected a little bit. It was put together with the estimated 401,000 that was on the draft balance sheet a couple of weeks ago. As that number became more concrete, we were able to tweak footnote number 10. Obviously, the footnote matches the 641,000, and it tells the reader that for the next couple of years, there's about $240,000 coming in a year. So there was two other changes. Yes.
Just a quick question about leases. You know, are the new numbers a result of your continued efforts to sort out what was reported by departments because of the GASB changes? And will we see more of this?
Well, it was just, the lease standard, to your first question, the lease standard was and has been very overwhelming for so many governments to implement here in fiscal 22. And honestly, I just think it was a matter of, time was involved in doing some homework with all the existing contracts. And so the original number, some more information became available to us and from Mary, and we were able to perfect the balance sheet. And will there be more coming? Yes, there will be. We talked a little bit last meeting about how there's two related standards, GASB, which is of course the Governmental Accounting Standards Board Statement 94 and 96. I'll talk mostly about 96. It's called Subscription-Based Information Technology Arrangements. Very simply, when the standard setters wrote the lease standard, they said, let's forget about software. And then, this is my opinion, a year later, they said, we should have included software. So they wrote a whole new standard. And GASB 96 basically mirrors GASB 87, but now you have to account for subscription-based information technology arrangements, which your, in all likelihood, your financial management system. Schools need to look at this in particular because a lot of curriculum can be online right now.
More than
So-
ever, yeah.
So this number, with the implementation of 96 in fiscal year 23, in all likelihood, just based on my experience, in all likelihood, will go up. And this is something that I'll take a moment, and I know we talked about it last month. Number of our clients have outsourced a lot of this work. You know, there's companies out there, obviously they've developed the technology that you scan them, they scan the contracts, and the intelligence of the software is able to, for the most part, figure out what the future inflows of resources are. And they can actually prepare your footnotes for you as well. So as things become more and more complex, and, you know, we're up to SCASB 101 already. So more and more governments are looking to outsource some of this work, and it's just something that we think the town should consider.
But the net effect of this change, right, is a small negative as far as the town's financial position is concerned.
I'm not sure I would say it's a small negative. Maybe. you
Well, I
can
mean, in that we have these obligations that are $200,000 more than we had previously noted.
Well, these are actually accounts receivable, so you have.
Oh, well, then this wouldn't have anything to do with the software then, right? The software would be our obligation.
Correct.
So this is just simply, these are leases that the town has with, you know, agricultural entities, you name it.
Yeah.
Where we're earning revenue. So this is a favorable impact.
Yes.
And
You're
it
the
was just
lessor
simply
in this
that we
situation.
didn't have clear information about our future flows of revenue that were expected from these leases. Is that the case?
Yes.
Okay, so Court, I think that answers the question.
Yeah, thank you.
And then the other issues they'll probably more for future audits. Because
Yeah.
yes, indeed, we're subscribing to more and more software.
So the other change, you know, deals with in the long-term perspective, not at the general fund level, in your capital asset section here in the governmental activities, the 113.9 and the 60,523. These numbers were tweaked a little bit, more than a little bit, by about $1 million, just with some cutoff issues and perfecting the accounting for capital assets. They went up about $1 million. And as you would expect, this account that's referred to as your net investment in capital assets, which, you know, very generally speaking, is the difference between your capital assets and your long-term bonds payable. It's a very generic way of saying it, but it's the difference between the assets and the debt associated with them. So as the capital assets went up about $1 million, this net investment in capital asset also went up by about $1 million. Those two things right there summarize the changes from the draft that we looked at about a month ago. I wish it was more exciting than that, but that really is the summary of the changes.
Good.
I'm going to stop sharing for a minute, and I'll turn it back to the chair, and certainly Sarah and I are here to.
Well, so are we now looking for a motion to approve the final annual comprehensive financial report, I guess, for the town? Is that an appropriate motion at this time?
I think so, yes.
And Mary and Gail, you had time to pore over this once again. Okay.
So could I get such a motion?
Yeah, I move to approve the annual comprehensive financial report for fiscal 2022 as presented.
I'll
Can I
second
get a
that.
second? Thank you, Carol. Roll call vote. Carol,
I approve.
Arthur,
Aye.
Court,
Aye.
and myself, Matt Johnson, aye. So now I will turn us to, and thanks so much, Scott, for your work on this audit this past year. And I assume we're moving right ahead with FY 23.
Yeah,
You know, just about closing up that year.
exactly.
So let's then move to our final piece of business today, which is, well, if we have any other business, is there any other business that we need to consider?
Well, I just want to thank you, Matt, for your leadership during your term on the board and the committee.
I would
I'll
also
echo
like to
that.
say that too. Thank you, Matt. But you know, similarly, I also want to thank the staff for all of their hard work, and the minutes really have been very, very helpful, and I appreciate that. I'm not sure about you, Art, but I believe my tenure on this committee is complete too. I think I've been here since it started, so it's been a pleasure. It's been a great learning experience, and Scott, it's always wonderful working with you and Sarah and the whole financial group. So thank you.
Yeah, and I did raise the issue of needing more financial audit advisory committee members. We should be trying to recruit aggressively.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. I did reach out to one person who's got some sober thinking and you know, very accomplished in finance. I'm hoping he might express some interest.
Great. We might even have some audit professionals living in town. It seems like we have some of everything living in town. So, all
So we
right.
have two openings, correct, Matt?
Yes, I mean, I will be replaced.
Okay.
So that's all set. But yeah, the others are still.
Yeah, two citizen reps, that positions that were.
That's the big challenge. Yeah. Okay, so then moving to citizen comments. Do we have anyone who wants to make a comment? If so, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom, and I am not seeing anybody. So that moves us to adjournment. And again, thanks everyone very much. This is my last official duty as a now ex select board member. Yeah, on May 15th, new committee members are likely to be assigned. So good luck in the future, and thanks so much. Concord is, of course, a very financially well-managed place. So I'm very appreciative as a citizen and as a former select board member. Okay, well, I think we can
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good summer.
Yes, take care all.
Bye.
Bye.